here again. I'm Aniela from the Academy, and here with me now is Prinz Pinakatt, who is Group Interactive Marketing Manager for Europe, Coca-Cola Europe Group. Mr. Pinakatt, which you think are the most important present and emerging trends in the mobile and the web advertising?
I think the conversions. That means that there is no border between internet and the mobile internet. People access all sort of content from everywhere. So we call it cloud computing, or the industry calls it cloud computing, but pretty much that people access content from anywhere, anytime. That is something that we as marketeers have to have in mind when we develop campaigns.
What are your expectations for the development of the mobile and the web marketing in the next few years?
It will only get bigger, clearly. The interaction level of consumers with digital devices is becoming higher amongst all target groups. What is very interesting is the younger target group. It's not only about the time they spend, it's also about the fact to which extent they spend the time. So it's a very deep engagement level. They share a lot of their life with their friends, but also with brands. So there it's clearly about having more people engaging with our brands in a much deeper way.
In which areas of the interactive marketing, besides mobile advertising, of course, do you expect the greatest growth?
I think from a spending advertising point of view, the biggest potential after mobile internet is with social media. It is already big, but if you look at the spending level, it's not that high, as far as I know. So over time, we will find ways of interacting with our consumers for which platforms like Facebook, MySpace will be able to charge advertisers.
So social media.
Social media.
How do you expect the internet marketing in Europe to develop? What do you think?
Broadband penetration will increase. It will become broader where we already have it. It will become present where we don't have it. So it's clearly about broadband penetration and therefore better interaction, better user experiences.
What about the crisis? How did the global economic crisis change the European market of internet advertising?
Without having figures on the table, I strongly believe it allowed marketeers to actually invest more in digital marketing because the efficiencies you can gain are higher and more importantly, you can prove those efficiencies, which is not always the case with classic advertising. So I believe that the crisis presented itself as a chance and opportunity.
How do you expect the presence of the brands on the internet to develop?
It depends on the specific entity. So in social media, my point of view is clearly that brands should act as members of the community. So like a human, pretty much. Respond to questions, post content, really behave like a community member.
So again, social media.
Again, social media behavior, yeah.
Which you think are the barriers and the challenges to the interactive marketing here in the region?
In this region, I would think that the usage pattern. So consumers in these regions are probably yet not used to interact the way that, for instance, consumers in the US interact with digital channels. They're not to participate to the extent that US people participate. Once they really grasp what is possible, what sort of engagement they can actually have with brands, it will kick off clearly.
What are your expectations for the development of interactive marketing here in the region?
It can only become bigger. So looking at the numbers of IAB, you see it's on a small scale, but then again, you already have the infrastructure in place, and therefore, I'm convinced it's going to grow exponentially.
When do you expect the internet presence of the brands in this region, and in particular in Southeastern Europe, of course, will catch up with the most developed European countries?
That's a very good question. I'm not convinced that it's about catching up. So it might be that the usage experience and the usage pattern here is different than in other developed countries. So look at South Korea or Japan, where consumers interact with the mobile phone in a way that nobody in Europe or the US has done and might not even be doing. So I think since the infrastructure is in place, the penetration and usage rates will be very soon on a very high level. Now, the way that people interact with the internet and the mobile phone might be completely different. So that is something we need to have a look at.
The infrastructure is the most important.
Yeah.
So the people are ready, but the infrastructure is...
The people are ready. As far as I understand, the infrastructure is there. It's now about delivering the content and the connection points where people can engage with.
What would you tell to the companies in this region that haven't yet exposed their brands on the internet?
Sooner or later, consumers will search for your company, for your product, for your brand. So you have to be out there. And if it's just a simple brand website that explains your product and your company, I will tell you, people will search for your company.
So they must be there.
You have to have a digital presence very soon if it's not already there. Yeah.
Thank you for this interview.
No
This
problem.
was specially for WEBIT TV.